Hi, guys. Welcome to Threads Podcast Life Unfiltered.
Bum, bum, bum.
Thank you guys so much for joining us. Happy late Father's Day.
Yes, to all you dads out there, we salute you.
We salute you. Originally, we were going to do a Father's Day episode, and then, we all had crap going on, so we decided to punt on Sunday and record tonight. So this audio episode will go out on Friday. So thank you guys for joining us. Please, if you could share, like, all that fun stuff, to get us noticed. And we are glad to be back. This is 2 episodes in a row that Ben and I are here. Ben turned his phone on.
I turned the volume down.
Good job,
My
Ben.
bad. That was an amateur error right there.
That's all right. So, for those who are first-time listeners or viewers, Threads podcast Life Unfiltered, we're just 2 dudes like talking about life. I wasn't expecting to intro it because Ben normally does, but that's okay. We just sit down. We've been doing every other week, but we sit down on the off weeks with our wives and kind of talk and break down the last episode. So that was a terrible explanation.
It's okay.
Seriously, you're the better dude for that.
I guess so, but I thought I'd let you have it.
Do you want to add any extra?
No, I mean, what you said is pretty much it. We're 2 dudes, 2 regular guys, somewhat irregular lives. I mean, our lives are different from each other, I would say.
Yeah, I wouldn't say we're the norm. I mean, yeah, we both work full time and we both have a couple of kids, but there's some added things in that kind of change things up a little bit. But for the most part, I'm normal, Ben.
That's up for discussion. That's a debate-worthy topic.
So, why don't you introduce this episode? I don't know that there's a backstory, so thank goodness.
Really?
Yeah.
You're the one who... Okay. Backstory.
I mean, you said you didn't want to talk about it, so if you're talking about that, then I know what the backstory is.
There you go. So the backstory for the Father's Day episode, we were trying to figure out what angle we wanted to take on our next podcast. This is very much an impromptu. No, I wouldn't say impromptu.
Well, we were going to do a Father's Day episode, whatever that entailed. We hadn't prepped it yet, but
Exactly.
That was the thing.
Yeah. So each week when we're planning out the next episode, it's not like we plan these weeks in advance. Usually it's the week before, the day before, sometimes
6 hours before.
Yeah, sometimes that happens. But we were discussing Father's Day, and we were also discussing just life in the Crocker home, and it was chaotic. We had a rough start to the summer. It was just nuts. And I vented often to Jason on our Telegram messaging app because he's my buddy. We're friends. And I feel like he's a person that I can say, hey, the wheels are falling off at home. Just wanted you to know. Now, Jason is the kind of guy, and I'm like this too, where he likes to fix things and he likes to poke and prod. And
that's a guy thing, though.
It is. So my initial reaction to that was not super great. And then he pushes it a step further and he's like, we should talk about this on the podcast. And I'm thinking, really, Jason? You're just gonna make our friendship about our podcast?
Well, I mean, it's Life Unfiltered. It's a good story. We had some discussion. We weren't on the same page. I offered advice and he didn't like it. And so he said, hey, next time can you say, if I ask for advice, give it, or otherwise keep it to yourself? I'm like, I fought it for a little bit. Then I was like, okay, fair enough.
Yes. It's interesting for the guy being in sales, and I give advice all the time, and I just knock on doors and talk to people and everything else. I do not like unsolicited advice, which is a little bit ironic, but that's okay.
But in my defense, and we won't go too far in this, my goal is to help you. It's not like I know the better way. It's just like what I think is what you should do. And again, it is unsolicited. I will admit that. But yeah, I got a little heated there. So that's, I mean, we weren't mad at each other.
No.
I think it went well. I fought a little bit.
We both like to stand our ground.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of
which is
friendship.
so funny with you because you're definitely a introvert. Like it's so weird that you're even in sales. I don't know what it is. It must be this the way you can connect to people because although I don't want to super what's the opposite of introvert? Extrovert. Thank you. Outrovert. And
is that like innie and outie?
Yeah, like a belly button. I don't want an extrovert because sometimes they're annoying. Like, hey, you want to buy this? You want to buy this? You want to buy this? But anyways, I digress.
So that's kind of the backstory.
Yeah.
We had a little heated discussion about parenting and parenting methods, and I felt like I had to prove myself a little bit into the methods that I employ and why I do them. I just wanted you to see my vantage point too.
I mean, basically it boils down to opinions, right?
Yeah.
And that's what I kept saying. Like, it's my opinion that this should be like this. And
Yeah.
you're like, well, I don't want your opinion. And I'm like, oh, okay. All right. Moving on.
Yeah, it was like that pretty much. But the whole idea behind this episode is to break down what our lives as fathers look like in light of it being Father's Day, and a little bit more specifically looking at our parenting styles and how we show up in the home with our kids, even with our wives, and how we do family life together. So that's really the big main gist of the episode tonight.
There will be a surprise segment.
Of course there will be. Jason loves to surprise me. This is the second time that he's said this.
And just caveat, this has nothing to do with parenting.
Thanks.
It's just something I thought of, and I think it would be fun to do.
Just totally derail the whole plan.
Pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I
see how it is.
I put it in right before the unfiltered finale, so at least we'll be done with our deep stuff. Okay, so speaking of, not speaking of, so Eric Zane does ad for us. We pay him to do it.
Who's Eric Zane?
Right. He has a podcast in Grand Rapids, Hudsonville, Michigan. Check him out. EricZaneShow.com.
I like the guy because he's not shy about controversy.
No,
when everything was going down at Free Beer, like, he definitely spoke his mind openly. And that's what first grabbed my attention and made me say, this is a guy that I really enjoy listening to.
Yeah, and he does a free podcast 5 days a week, usually about 45 minutes. And then for an extra $5 a month, he does another Patreon podcast, which is about 20 to 30. And that one gets off the rails. So he tells it like it is in this one.
Talk about unfiltered.
Right. There's a lot of F-bombs. So I just want to play one of the ads. I had like 3 of them lined up, and it was like 10 minutes. I'm like, okay, that would be terrible.
Play the best one.
But I'm gonna
play the one where he talks nice about me.
Well, this is the one where he talks to you. So we're gonna click over and then just take a listen to it. Hopefully this works.
Facebook, just search Threads Podcast Life Unfiltered and like them on Facebook. Thank you to Ben and Jason.
This is the end of the last one.
Great dudes, great families. To me, the best part is when they bring their wives on. I love their wives.
Oh yeah, sorry.
I love them too. But for
right.
some reason,
this is
I
the
want
tail
all
end
4
of
of them
so
to
you
be
may
on.
hear this other one again.
I'll let you borrow the mics. Huh? Maybe. All right.
Dead air.
The Threads podcast, I don't know if they're going to be talking about the Stonewall Uprising, but they will be talking about a ton of things on their amazing podcast. How about the fact that Ben from their podcast, not Ben that not Snowflake Ben, another Ben.
Well, he is a snowflake.
Ben
but
is one of the hosts, and he was alone, solo. I cannot wait to hear that. I hope you didn't F it up, and I hope you got a sense for how hard it is to be solo. Ben went solo because Jason, I don't know what he was doing. Perhaps dressing like a woman. I don't know. But Ben was solo on the latest edition of the Threads podcast. Check it out at threadspodcast.com. Also, follow those boys on Facebook. Just look up Threads Podcast Unfiltered. Subscribe, rate, and review the Threads Podcast. Threads Podcast, Life Unfiltered, key sponsor of the Eric Zane Show podcast.
Key sponsor.
A key
All right,
sponsor.
latest story I got to talk.
First time That's the first time we've been a key sponsor.
Right, man.
So did you like that?
That was pretty good.
Yeah.
He's funny.
So in context with dressing up, he had been doing a story about the gay pride event.
Yeah.
And then there's an event called Stonewall or Stone.
That was like the first public protest in support of gay rights.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
in the 60s?
Yeah, you're exactly right. I'm impressed that you know that, but that's exactly what it was. It was interesting him kind of explaining it. But yeah, that was kind of fun. He got a couple more ads. He does a fantastic job with ads. It's just, I don't know.
And they're all off the cuff.
They're all off
It's
the cuff.
so awesome.
Yeah.
I need to talk into my microphone more. There
Yeah.
we go. Oh, it's going to fall.
Oh boy.
I'm on the struggle bus tonight.
Do you want to take the mic out and fix that properly, or is it going to fall the entire shift or the entire podcast? Sorry, shift work. You want me to just...
It should be good.
Are you sure?
Yep.
Okay. So the first segment, Ben, I don't know where he got these, but doesn't really matter. These are, looks like 3 parenting scenarios. And Ben, I will let you read them because you read better than me, and I'm okay with have you taking the lead on that if you're cool.
No,
with
that's
it.
totally fine.
Okay.
So these scenarios come from a Colorado-based website. So there was one of them that talked about like different state laws, and it had nothing to do with Michigan. So I just left that one out. But they had some really good questions, and I would love to hear how you would handle the situation, and I will also share then how I would respond.
I've looked at these, but I haven't really thought about them, so that most of this will be off the cuff.
Perfect. While doing the family laundry, you find a lighter stuffed inside your 12-year-old son's pants pocket. A little online research reveals such a discovery is fairly common. You don't smell tobacco or marijuana on him or his clothes. You ask what he needs a lighter for, and he says he likes the way it looks and he uses it to perform cool tricks for his friends. What should you tell him next?
I would say you probably shouldn't be playing with the lighter. My first reaction wouldn't be worried about tobacco or marijuana. I think boys just like fire.
It's true.
I mean, you sit at it, you go to a bonfire and there's 6 guys and they all got a poking stick.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Poking stick. You didn't get it? A poking stick? 6 guys at a fire, poking stick.
Mm-hmm.
Do you get it? Oh my gosh.
I'm not sure what direction you're trying to take that.
6 guys and a stick. They each have a stick.
Yeah.
And it pokes.
Mm-hmm.
You're not getting it?
I know what you're talking about, but
That was so
I'm
awkward.
trying to...
What? It was funny. Anyways.
You're a junior hire.
Yeah, whatever. Did you just get mature all of a sudden?
Yep.
Whatever. So, yeah, I wouldn't really be concerned. I would be like, hey, if you're at school with that, they're going to confiscate it and you might get in trouble. I feel like schools now are definitely a little more hyperact. I mean, Sully got a plastic knife from the dollar store. He was going to bring that to school. And I'm like, under no circumstances can you bring this to school. Like, you cannot. So, what about you for the fire or for the lighter thing?
I think I would ask him, is that a Zippo?
And if it is, where'd you get the money to buy that?
Right? Seriously. But I really think that would be part of my initial reaction. Just kind of general intrigue.
Concern. Not
even concern.
yeah.
Just like, if I'm not smelling smoke, I'm not smelling pot, and trust me, I know what those smell like after being a rideshare driver.
Right.
Oh my gosh. If I didn't smell anything, I'd probably be a little bit more lenient and understanding and not super like, what the hell are you doing with a lighter in your pocket?
Yeah, I mean, there's really no reason to freak out.
Yeah.
I mean, even if it was tobacco, well, I mean, much more concerned if you smell tobacco or marijuana.
for sure.
But I mean, you don't need to freak out over a lighter.
No.
So that was kind of a softball.
That was a softball.
I bet they
get
get a little harder as we go on.
You and your 13-year-old daughter saw the big new blockbuster, and unfortunately, the star smoked marijuana and drank alcohol. Over ice cream afterwards, you seize the chance to ask about your daughter's attitudes about using marijuana and alcohol, and she reveals she's actually been to a party where underage drinking occurred. What's your next move?
I'll let you take this one first.
13. Yeah, that's if my daughter told me she went to a party where there was underage drinking, my first thought would be, how'd you pull that off? Like, with my
how'd you
get that over my head?
right?
Because I really try hard to keep tabs on my kids, and
Yeah.
if they're going to have a phone, then they're going to have a tracker on their phone, and I'm going to know where they are at all times. Right. So I would have been a little bit miffed that she somehow snuck out from my view.
That's what he's miffed about.
I would be pissed.
Well, I mean, I feel like that's the least of it. I mean,
I'd be miffed about that, but I would be pissed about her going to a party and sneaking around.
Totally agree.
So after the initial shock wore off about my daughter, being rebellious and going to a party, I think my concern would be, how was that for you? Like, tell me about it. Are you okay? Did anything happen that I need to know about? That sort of thing.
My reaction would be like, who the F's house were you at and what's their name?
I'm going to call their parents.
No, seriously, that's what my first reaction would be.
Oh, yeah.
Because I know my kid, or I think I know my kid enough to know she probably didn't use the drugs or the alcohol. Maybe she did. But I would be like, whoever house you were at, you're not, I mean, I hate to say you're not allowed to hang out with them, but it's probably not a good influence for you to hang around them.
Yeah.
Especially at 13. I mean, if you're 17 or 18, I mean, yeah it's still wrong, but it's not that big of a deal.
You make your own choices.
But at 13, you're still I mean, there's
Stefan
a lot of...
turns 13 in a week or so.
Yeah, there's so much molding at that age. So, but yeah, I would be more pissed at the parent and where the party was more than my daughter.
It's good.
And she didn't sneak out, though. That you missed that part. It says she reveals she actually been to a party. It doesn't say she snuck out.
That's true.
You went to that right away. So that's something is that like a Freudian slip? Because you kind of created some scenario in your head that wasn't even in the article?
Well, I was just thinking if she went to a party, I would have known about it.
Right.
So maybe she plotted with mom.
Well, the funny part is that's the first thing you went to, not like... whose house was it at? Why is there alcohol? Like, see, that's
my first reaction was, how did I not know?
How'd she pull a fast one on me? I need to up my camera game.
Seriously.
That's so funny that I was rereading it. I'm like, it doesn't say she snuck out. Where did you create that scenario?
I don't know. It just made it up in my head, maybe. All right. The last one here. And don't worry, if you're thinking that we're not getting very deep, just hold on. There's some deep stuff coming up. This is just to get us started.
This is a warm-up.
That was a message from Megan, because I'm sure she'd been like, unpack that. Anyway, your 18-year-old daughter is almost through her first semester of college, so adult. There's just one thing, that dreaded Accounting 101 final. You learn your daughter took some prescription pills offered by a, quote, helpful roommate to help her focus on schoolwork. No harm done?
I like the questions. No harm done? What's your next move? Shut up. I'll take this one. I would have a huge problem with that.
Yeah.
I know a lot of college kids do Adderall.
Oh, yeah.
And journalists and those kind of things. And that is very addictive. It's meth. It's prescribed meth. That's
Pretty
what
much.
it is. You'll stay up for days.
Yeah.
So I would have a problem with that. I would just explain to her that these are addictive substances. It's prescribed. Once you tell somebody this is like prescription meth,
yeah,
then I would show her a meth head and then be dramatic about that. But I just don't think there's any room for occasional... I mean, first of all, and I guess alcohol would be illegal too, but it's illegal because it's not a prescription that was written for you.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Out of all those, that would freak me out more than anything.
Yeah, that is definitely frightening. I think my reaction would be similar.
Yeah.
Yeah, just really having that tough conversation with my daughter and saying, you got to know that this is a prescription drug.
Yeah.
You only get this if your doctor okays it for you. you don't know what this is going to do to your body.
Right.
You are risking so much, putting so much on the line.
That's such a good point, because you never know what a different drug is going to do to your body, because it wasn't prescribed.
Yes.
Almost what described to you. Prescribed to you.
Yeah.
And if you have a heart thing or whatever. So, yeah, that would freak me out a little bit.
Oh, yes.
It would have definitely been a WTF.
Right.
I try not to do those WTFs because it really sets the tone for the rest of the conversation.
It does.
And it usually doesn't go, not that it doesn't go bad, but they usually clam up.
Yeah.
So I try not to do a WTF. So, well, that was the warm-up segment. Our next one is about parenting styles. Now, this is where Ben and I had some disagreements on parenting styles. So we took a test, which we will post it, but mind you, it looked like I typed it with spelling errors, and
man.
it was terrible.
It was not great.
It was a good test, but I was like, man, who wrote this? Me?
He's sending me snapshot or screenshots of all these typos.
Right.
It's like, whoa.
Yes.
Did I just take over your body? And
right.
Like, who are you?
So I definitely would be interested for y'all to take this quiz. Again, just it's not terribly punctuated terribly, but
you're able to at least understand the general gist of it.
So it was 10 questions that gave you 4 answers that you're supposed to not super think about it, but choose which one represents you the closest, but not to like over analyze the answers. So
yeah. So before you tell me yours, can I take a guess at what you are?
Yeah.
A.
That is incorrect.
Really? Mm-hmm. Wow. Okay.
I was a C.
No.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
What do you think I was?
Hold on. B.
You think so?
Were you?
No.
That was a stab in the dark.
I did not have any B's.
I know. I let my kid do everything.
Yeah.
So what
permissive.
were you?
I was C and D, like a healthy mix of both. So, for those of you who have no idea what these letters mean, if you have most C's, your parenting style probably has traits characteristic of an authoritative parenting style.
And what did you say you thought I was?
A.
Oh. But see, that's the thing. I come across that way, and the A is like the authoritarian, which I am, but some of
you're very firm and
yeah, but some of them were like the questions were for A would be like, you just shut the hell up and sit down. Like, I mean, they didn't exactly say that, but it
that was the spirit behind
well,
them.
like A, for question 9, what about emotions? A is, I think showing emotions is generally a sign of weakness. I don't believe in that. And in order for my child to be strong people, they need to learn to control their emotions and not let them run the show. If they show their emotions too much, they'll be vulnerable and other people may exploit them. I mean, in the back of my head, I think that, but I would never tell my kid, you need to, you know what I mean?
Sure.
So,
yeah.
So we actually kind of are the same. Ish.
Yes, I lean a little bit to D though, and I think D can be confused with B, or maybe D on its bad day is more lenient and permissive, but the D parenting style is when you have traits characteristic of unconditional positive parenting, believing in loving and supporting children unconditionally, thus showing full acceptance of their person regardless of their behavior. That is 100% absolutely true of me.
Well, then you can't say you're C then. Which one? It literally, the instruction said what you had more of is what you are.
Well, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 C's.
Okay, then you're a C.
Yeah, C, but my D was right behind it. So, but yes, I am a high C.
Low D.
Yes. What was your runner up?
Hold on.
Oh, I mean, I don't mean to make you get up and.
No, I don't know if I saved it. I'd just be curious. I think I may have crinkled it.
He's currently digging through the trash can.
Well, now I want to know myself. I got it right here.
Look at that.
I don't know why I get on a podcast and I start coughing. You know what's that cough like 4 times like an idiot?
Are you sick?
No, I'm not sick, but I feel like every time oh man, this is stuck together.
Oh man, look at that.
I actually had 2 A's, 1 D, and the rest C's.
Oh wow.
So I am definitely a C.
Yeah.
And 2 A's. So I guess A would be my second place.
I would say, yeah, you're very much a C. You have high expectations of proper behavior. Children are allowed to have opinions and encouraged to express them, but parents always have the final word.
See? Yeah, they're allowed to express it, but I have the final word.
Yep. Yeah, so I think we're on the same page. I just tend to lean a little bit into the D territory at times.
I like this one kind of. Encourages individuality, but not at the expense of sociality. This means that the child is allowed to act according to his or her individual will as long as it doesn't jeopardize the social structure. I disagree. This kind of brings up an interesting point. My sister, Nicole, very loud, boisterous, just off the wall. And when we were growing up...
More so than you?
Oh, yeah. I mean, this girl would do cartwheels down the I mean, anywhere. I mean, would break out into song anywhere.
Sounds like Miracle.
Anywhere. And, you know, as growing up, we hated that. And my parents hated that.
Really?
And so I think that had a lot to do with the issues that she's experiencing as an adult. I mean, there was obviously a lot of other things too, but everyone said, shut up, Nicole. Stop that, Nicole. So when I started having kids, and especially with Avery, I said, I'm not doing it anymore. Yeah. I'm letting her sing.
Sure.
I mean, to an extent. I mean, she's not like Nicole, and where she would just break out in song in public.
Sure.
So we have the balance where she bounces off the wall, sings and does things, and it's just, that does not. I let the kids kind of do well, and then with Sully, I mean, he's autistic.
Yeah.
He kind of goes against the social norm.
Oh,
he's outside just staring at stuff and being all flappy and
awesome.
stuff. And but anyways, that was kind of a.
So Tim asked a really good question. He says, do you guys think that your parenting style has changed over the years as your kids have grown?
Yeah, I mean, I've gotten less, I guess aggressive isn't the right word, but less freaked out, less losing my cool.
Yeah.
As I've going through therapy, I've really seen how I know your actions affect other people. I get the logic part of it, but sometimes my emotions would take over. But I really see when I do freak out over something, stressing over whatever it is, some stupid thing, I see how it affects Avery, and I'm like, ooh, man, I got to really check myself, at least when I'm around the kids. So
yeah.
I feel mine's changed as I've just gotten more mature.
Yeah.
I mean, I got a long road ahead of me. I'm only 43, so hopefully by 80, I'm at top maturity.
Yes. For me, I would say that we'll talk about this in greater detail later, but having the children in my home that I do and their backgrounds, it presents unique challenges, and I feel like I always have to learn and grow and know how to handle their unique needs, because it is what it is. They had a life before me.
Yeah.
And that's difficult. Like, they have things pre-programmed and wired into them, and they have an entirely different set of genes and blood than I do.
Yeah, it's definitely got to be hard to parent that. I mean,
so I feel like, yeah, my parenting style is not always, but it's definitely something that I'm addressing and tweaking. And I find myself being a little bit more heavy on the D when my kids are having significant issues and struggling. And that's where I strive to just love them unconditionally and be positive, try to see the big perspective, and working with the child to help empower them instead of just telling them to knock it off. So I feel like I'm having to become more D, even though my natural style and what I was raised with too is C. So
yeah, you're a C. I feel like you weren't the authority. I mean, you grew up super sheltered.
I did,
Although
but
that really has nothing to do with parenting style. I mean, it's just like we're deciding to keep you away
that was
from.
just their worldview
Right.
and it's how they were raised.
Didn't you bring that up in the last podcast, how you're always bummed out that Andy and I know all this stuff? And
That was on my solo episode.
that's what I thought. I was just, I was like, I think I just recently heard him say that.
Yes. So, yeah, really interesting quiz. And despite all of the spelling and punctuation errors, it was definitely really helpful for me to just kind of step back and see these different styles and which one I identify with. And thanks for the follow-up question, Tim.
Yeah, I would like to dig into that a little bit more, something other than that quiz, just to see. It's kind of like the personality test. If you're like I don't know what it's called. It's a pretty famous one.
Myers-Briggs?
Yeah.
The INFP, ENFJ?
Yeah. That's what it is. I think I've done that before. It's kind of a long thing to do.
It is.
But I mean, what's funny about that though is you usually can guess what you are anyways. I mean, I guess at 43, maybe at 20 I couldn't.
Yeah.
But I think
with those tests too, like I've changed.
yeah.
Like when I took it in college, I got a very different result than if I were to take it now. So I feel like my personality is always maturing and being changed in little ways.
Two things. This is completely off the cuff. Are you still going to therapy?
It's been a while, but
I was just curious. Popped in my head when we were.
I just love your as in you better get your ass back there,
Well,
boy.
I wanted to say that. Like, I know you've been going through some stuff, and I was just like, I had to say it now because you know what? I would have forgot it. And then I want to say about your solo podcast. I actually learned stuff about you that I didn't know.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that first 20 minutes was great. I could have listened to you talk more about, the adoption and everything. I don't know. I think you did a good job. I just have to say, except that song. That song
just
sucked.
love that song.
It sucked.
That's the point,
I know,
though.
but it sucked.
Sometimes life just sucks.
It does. Like
So-
right now.
Yep. Mm-hmm. So, all right. So I mentioned a little bit about my kids and their background, and that's really what kind of started this whole conversation between Jason and I, was recapping the struggles that we've been having with Miracle. Miracle and Stefan both experienced different forms of trauma. For Stefan, it was very much neglect, part of his story. And, I try to tread this thin line of being respectful of my kids' stories and letting them tell the story, but then also referencing their stories to kind of help inspire other people or stuff like that.
I mean, you can really, you have such an amazing, this is an amazing time where we can get content out there and you can help other people. And I know you want to respect their story, and you can just, just work on how you say it.
Yeah, exactly. I just don't want my kids to grow up and then 20 years. No, it wouldn't even be 20 years. Wow. When Stefan turns 18 and, he's looking for a job or whatever, I don't want potential employers to, listen to the Threads podcast and hear all of his stories.
They're not going to know it's him unless we put his name in a title somewhere.
That's true.
It's all SEO.
It's all just audio.
Right.
So,
but I do get that.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think our kids, when we're dead and they listen to it, they have something to be like, that's my dad.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
for sure.
Even if tomorrow I get hit by a truck.
Right. Please don't.
Yeah. But I'm just saying.
I'd be very sad.
But what I'm saying is that you could say, you could go back. Like, how cool is this? How cool is this world we're living in that our kids could go back and say,
yeah, it's like a time capsule.
It's kind of cool. So,
yeah. Do you know what that look was about that I just gave you?
yeah, because I'm sexy.
Nope, not that one, but that's okay. So back to my son's story. Stefan was in a situation where he was neglected and left by himself for hours, if not days at a time, as a 1 to 2 year old. His mom had a lot of psychological problems. she would go off of her meds and she would essentially lose touch with reality. And there were many times where that caused her to not pay attention to her kid. And it was obviously very dangerous for our son. So he would go through times where he would cry because he needed something, but nobody was there to get him what he needed. Nobody was there to feed him, to rock him, whatever the case may be, whatever his needs were, they weren't being met. Now, when you are a young child or a baby like that, and those things are happening like that, your brain is developing and it's learning how to respond to stressful situations. So because of those pathways that were formed in his brain, he never really learned a good way to handle stress. And so you grow up and you know, when things are stressful, all you know to do is to cry and scream and carry on and hope that somebody will notice. And so that's what he does in stressful situations.
Do you feel, though, like at this age, though? I mean, I understand where you're coming from. I totally get it.
It's become less and less of the tantruming, which is good.
Well, because he's kind of see, this is the tough part, is trying to distinguish between a normal 12-year-old brat or this is, you know, what he dealt with. But I feel like with him being, you know, in your home for what, 10 years, he's I don't know. I would be myself, I would be less like, that's not this is just this.
But there's always a piece of the trauma behind everything, because it's just so deeply embedded in his life.
I would challenge you to not use that as an excuse, though, because that's
it's not an excuse.
No, but
sure.
Then it's like me saying, well, my terrible abuse, that means I get to do whatever I want to do.
It doesn't give you permission to do anything. It doesn't give him permission to do anything.
Right.
It explains it. It doesn't excuse it.
Yeah, again, it's, you know, I would Miracle totally get it right now. 100%.
Yeah. And she actually, her story is far more horrible.
Oh, terrible.
I mean, she was abused, physically abused, possibly sexually. We don't know for sure. I don't even want to think about that, but that's definitely something that is part of her story. The abuse and the trauma that comes from that is just horrendous. And then you add to that trauma, being removed from parents, which in itself is a super traumatic thing and very difficult to recover from. And she gets put with her aunt. Aunt eventually adopts her and her biological brother. And then for whatever reason, there's a lot of reasons, I just don't want to get into it, Aunt decides, I like brother, but I hate Miracle. I don't want Miracle anymore. I'm done with Miracle. I'm going to petition the state and I'm going to get my way, and she's going to leave my family, but I'm going to keep her brother. And that's exactly what she did.
It's so crazy.
And how the state allowed that to happen, I will never understand.
It'd be interesting to talk to that judge, because normally they try to keep them together.
Yeah, they absolutely do.
Question, when you adopted Miracle, did you know that there was a possible brother?
Oh, yeah, we knew. Absolutely.
So would you have taken both of them?
If it ever came to it and her brother needed a home, I think we would end up taking him in.
I figured you would. I just don't know where that information was given to you in the process.
Oh no, we had full disclosure meetings, like where they would sit us down, and people from our agency, because we had to use a different agency because Andy worked at Bethany. So she was a Bethany kid. So we had a different agency, and then we had representatives from Bethany, and we had these full disclosure meetings where they basically sat us down and said, this is all the shit that she's been through. Do you still want her? And we're both like, yeah, we want her. We want her in our family. And
yeah, I can't imagine the discussions you guys had before you signed on the quote unquote dotted line. You know what I mean? I can't imagine. That must have been stressful as hell.
It was something, that's for sure. So yeah, because of the trauma that my kids have had in their lives, before we adopted them, it definitely calls us to parent with a little bit more, I don't know, a specialized approach. We actually took a training and it was very good. And I highly recommend it, even if you're not a foster parent. It's just good knowledge to have. It was called Trauma-Informed Parenting. And it's essentially how to deal with kids, how to raise kids who have experienced trauma of some sort, and how to help them be successful and not, just be a victim of the system and have a life that goes nowhere. So that's the approach that we take, is trauma informed. And to kind of get us started into this segment, I've got some clips that I found from Heather. I can't remember her last name, but we'll put the links in the show notes. But she talks more specifically about trauma and how it impacts kids, and especially their brain development and behavior and all of that good stuff. So we'll play each clip. I have 3 of them. Depending on how time goes, we might not get to them all, but we'll jump right in and talk about it after each one.
Let's look at this whole idea of trauma. Okay, so I said that we're going to have some fun today. Do you like games? Who likes games? I like games. All right. Do you like Jeopardy? I like Jeopardy. Let's do Jeopardy. So here we go. Now, with Jeopardy, you have to do what? Your response has to be in the form of a question. All right. So here's the answer. The experience of feeling hopeless, helpless, and powerless. What is parenting? No. What is trauma? All right. 3 words I don't want you to forget. Hopeless, helpless, and powerless. This is what defines trauma. This is what kids that go through neglect, when kids, again, medical trauma, you're powerless and you hurt. There's pain. Kids in an orphanage, there's no help available. They are helpless. Kids who have been left in a crib to cry. Kids who have no food. And so you start living in a world where you're going to make sure that never happens again. How many of you all have kids that are adamant that nobody will be in charge of them ever? And they're like 2, right? Because they've had an experience of being powerless. And in order to get back to a place of survival and to ensure that those experiences will not happen again, you see kids then that take charge. Or some kids just shut down. They get so hopeless, even when you move them into a loving family system. And they've been out of the trauma for years. They still have this switch that the minute they get overwhelmed, they just collapse and they just quit, right? How many of y'all have kids that just quit at any sign of challenge? Now, if you're type A and you have a kid that just shuts down and quits, I'm thinking you got some issues going on in the home, right? I mean, because that's not within your framework. You take challenges on. It's build your fire. But you have a kid, though, that had a history of hopelessness, and so they just switch right back there at the sign of any challenge. So looking at how this is trauma, and I could spend, the whole day talking about trauma, because it's so important to recognize. I don't care if this child has been in your home 10, 12 years. This is part of their history. It's part of the past, but it's part of what they're living out of in their mindset.
So basically everything that you talked about, that's what she said.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, she really brought it up like 3 times. Like, even though they had it a long time ago, many years, they still react that same way. So, I get it. I get it. We don't know who she is, but you just Googled her and you just found it. So, but I am super interested in her. I want to see.
I'd love to have her on the show.
Even if it's via Skype.
Yeah.
But she's got a pleasant voice too, so it's nice to listen to.
I think it's Heather Forbes is her name. I should have wrote that down, but I didn't.
That's all right.
Yep, Heather Forbes. So, so are you saying that you can see that maybe it is possible for kids to just switch back?
Well, here's my thought about it, and where I came to that conclusion with Stefan is that it was so young and it was only 1 or 2 years. And then he was back, he was with you. And then give it another 2 years to adjust. And then, so that's why I look at it. With Miracle, it's been 1.5 years.
Yeah.
But that's the only reason I brought it up.
Sure.
And again, it's hard to tell if it's 12-year-old or the trauma brain. And same with Sully with autism. It's I don't know if he's having an 8-year-old issue or an autistic issue sometimes.
The thing with Stefan that we look to is we look for the patterns.
Yeah.
Is this just a freak behavior that he just did this because he's being a dumb 12-year-old? Okay, we can deal with that. That's normal. But is this a pattern of behavior that we've been seeing repeat itself for a period of days or weeks? And if it is, then it's deeper and it's a
that
little
makes
bit more
sense.
related.
If you're seeing these over the that does make sense that you'd be like, okay, this happened like 2 or 3 times in the last week. Something else is cooking.
And what's super helpful, speaking of going to see therapists, our kids go every other week, and now they see a different one, but they used to see the same guy. So Thursday morning in the Crocker family was therapy morning, and they would rotate. So we would also check with the therapist and say, what do you think? This is what's happening. Is this because of trauma, or is this just because of 12-year-old?
Right.
And that was really helpful to have that input as well. So I think we can jump to the next clip.
All right.
Things such as taking away privileges, getting leveraged by taking away the Xbox or the Game Boy, sticker charge, bribery type systems, those types of things, if you think about them, they're external. They're actually very superficial. And for many of our children, they don't work. In fact, they can actually make the behaviors worse than move them into a direction of positive behavior. The missing piece is your relationship, the influence you have with your child. Now, this comes down to a very primal need that we have as human beings. In order to survive, we have to be in relationship. We are designed at a physiological, cellular, biological level to be in relationship with one another. If we are not in community, we are not in relationship, you know what happens to us? We die. We don't survive. I mean, if you think about people that are put in prison, what is the number one worst punishment that they can have is solitary confinement, because it goes against our nervous system to be alone. And so taking that primal idea and applying it to our relationship and our connection with our children, think about that. What is more important when your child is resistant about taking out the garbage, when they're resistant about cleaning the dishes or doing the laundry or the putting away of the clothes, whatever that chore is or whatever you've asked them to do and they're resistant to that, get focused first on the relationship. Sit down, have a talk, make connection, put the behavior aside for the moment and focus first on the relationship. When you are able to do that, and when you make connection, you know what your child's going to be able to do? They're going to be able to respond to you in a positive way from a sense of internal motivation, that need to make connection, that desire to make connection. Let's take the stress away, decrease this overwhelm, decrease the fear, and our children have the ability from a very deep, intrinsic, internal place to be able to behave. That's where it comes from, not from external punishment, external rewards. Those are only superficial, and they only last temporarily.
So
I did pick that one on purpose.
So I feel like we got the tail end of the Xbox talk because she really didn't talk about it right away, or I guess
I had to trim it down, but
right.
You know.
See, I disagree.
That's okay.
Yeah, that is okay. I mean, it works for us.
Yes.
So I guess, and I can only base it on my experience.
Exactly. The same with me.
Yeah.
With my kids, we do take things away. Oh, we do. But it's not.
But it worked. It worked for Stefan after
did.
I told you to take the Xbox and throw it out the window.
Are you wanting me to say you were
and
right,
then your
Jason?
therapist said, we should probably get rid of that Xbox. No. I swear. Did you know any of these clips before? See, it's like It cracks me up.
I know.
It just cracks me up.
So here's my take on consequences and taking things away. I support it. And I know this might go back to your argument about, well, that's just an excuse. But bear with me. My kids have had so much taken away from them already.
Yeah.
Like good things that were taken away, whether it was the connection with their birth mom, who for 9 months in utero, they were as close to her as they could possibly be. They got to know her smell, the food intake, like everything about her, they were aware of. And then they're separated from that person. That's a huge loss.
Well, everyone has that loss.
But they're separated in that they're no longer with their biological
I thought you
mother.
meant like
from in utero until age, for Stefan, until age 2.5, 3, they're with that person and then they're not.
Right.
That is traumatic. And that's a huge loss. And same with Miracle. Different timeline, but just the loss. So much of their story is loss. So when they lose a privilege or they lose an Xbox, I don't want it to be another loss in their mind that's going to set them back even further.
Well, then
However,
how do you do consequences then?
We still do, but
Well, if you say they don't work, then what can you do?
I didn't say they don't work. I'm saying it takes a great deal of thought and examination before we actually implement it.
That's fair.
And we try to keep them short-lived. Somewhat selfishly, because it's hell when they don't have those things.
I get it. I feel you have to tier it.
Yes.
Like the first time it's this, and then we always tier it with our kids. And if it continues,
And what she was talking about the overwhelm and the freak out, like taking something away can easily put kids into that freak out mode. So what we've started doing is we have little slips of paper and we call them tickets. And if they do something wrong and we write it down, what the infraction was, we write what the consequence is, and then we write how long the consequence is going to be. And instead of giving a consequence in the heat of the moment, which just makes things worse, we put it like on their bedroom door. And so when they go into their bedroom next, they see the ticket and they know what the consequence is. And it's a lot less heated. So yes, we still do consequences and we still take things away. We just do it very thoughtfully and sometimes almost too thoughtfully, because you're right. We should have pulled that damn Xbox a whole lot sooner than we did.
Yeah, because I felt like every other day you were telling me about something. I'm like, man, he just loves that thing. Smash it.
Yeah,
that's what the old Jason would do. Well, you see those videos of the dad like smashing the cell phone or on YouTube.
Do you know there's a Smash Lab in Grand Rapids now?
Yeah, I heard that.
We should go.
Yeah.
But anyway, go on.
But yeah, I think I would take that Xbox and probably take a leak on it and then smash it. I don't know. Or vice versa. Who knows?
Light it on fire. So, yes. I'm not here to say that I'm always right. Obviously, I'm not. And I will give you the gold star here. I probably should have followed your advice sooner than I did.
Well, again, I'm only giving you advice what I would do.
Exactly.
I'm not giving you an unreasonable thing like, I don't know, build them a tree house and make them live outside for 3 days. I mean, I'm giving you what I would do because every time you came to me, it was like, oh, these screens, he's addicted to them. I'm like, okay, I'm hearing a pattern here. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Addicted to the screen, addicted to the screen.
And I just talked about patterns. So yeah, you're totally right.
It is. And you kind of did it the right way though. Like, I feel like, your therapist said, well, let's sell it and he can take the money and buy something else, but this is not beneficial. So we didn't smash it.
Yep.
That's what I wanted. I wanted a video of it.
And then he bought AirPods with his money from the Xbox.
Please tell the rest of the story.
And then we made a rule, and it was a very clear rule. You are not to take these to school. They stay home. Well, that turned into, I like to listen to music on the bus. So I said, you know what, Stefan? Fine. If you want to take them in your backpack and listen to them only on the bus, That's fine by me. That's okay. So every morning I would drop him off at school, and I would make sure that they were put away in his backpack, and I had him show me. And each day he did. And for the first 2 or 3 weeks, he did great with that. He would take them out on the bus ride home and listen to music on the bus. I'm okay with that. Well, a couple weeks later, I don't think he had them a full month. He decided to pull them out while at school and listen to them on lunch break. Thank God it wasn't in class. And then he took them out because he was playing basketball, and he just tucked them underneath his sweatshirt, which was on the bleachers. And some kid stole them.
Yeah, some kid saw him and put them in his sweatshirt.
So some kid went up and grabbed them, and Stefan has no idea who took them.
So question, does he have an iPhone?
No.
Oh, so the AirPods work? Were they legit Apple AirPods?
Yeah,
they work with an Android phone?
It's just Bluetooth.
Oh, I figured, but Apple, they're a little weird about that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's too bad you can't lock those down like a phone where you can be like, yeah, these are useless without this phone.
If he had an iPhone, we would have been able to track the location. But we didn't have an iPhone.
The last location?
Yes.
Yeah, because it has to connect. Yeah, you're right. You can track the location of those.
Yeah, but not on.
But you can't like lock them down.
Yeah.
I mean, it's $100. They're $160, so it's not cheap. But hey, lesson learned.
Seriously.
So now he doesn't have an Xbox or the AirPods.
But he has MPOW headphones.
Oh well, those are nice.
Yeah. What do you think? Do you want to do one last trauma clip? Or
Yeah,
do you
why
want to
not?
move on?
I think it's been good discussion around it. So we'll go to the last one.
Think that strangers are safe and people who are familiar and close are dangerous. It's a flip-flop, and we have to get them back to the perspective that it's about relationship.
I think you started it in the middle of it.
Oh, did I? I apologize for that. I thought I had them all set to.
They're nice to everybody else on the planet except for who? You. So I have to convince you today that it's not about you, even though their behaviors are so targeted against you. The issue is the relationship. What is threatening is that you, as the parent, as the caretaker, you have a greater ability to actually hurt that child than anybody else on this planet. Because that intimate relationship is not only scary, but terrifying. And we're going to talk about what trauma does to our kids to shift their mindset, to think that strangers are safe and people who are familiar and close are dangerous. It's a flip-flop, and we have to get them back to the perspective that it's about relationship.
That's it.
Yep.
Oh, sorry. Gotta go back to here.
That clip is so true. Like, my kids, well, for the most part, my kids, they don't explode at school. Miracle does from time to time. So that tells me she feels exceptionally safe at school, which is good.
Yeah.
But Stefan, we've told people like how awful he was, because years 4 through 8, 10, I mean, I have videos on my phone still. I mean, they're synced into Google of some of his tantrums, and they're just ridiculous, and they go on forever, and he just can't stop. He just can't get himself under control. And we would tell people, and they're just like, no way. He can't possibly be that bad. He's such a good kid. And then we lived with my parents for 9 months, and I think they finally started to see what we were talking about, because they saw him every day. And we would actually have to take him out of the house, put him in the car, and go for a drive and let him scream it out and do his tantrum thing, because I didn't want my parents to have to hear that all the time. So that was interesting. So yeah, they definitely appear to target the people that love them the most, get the brunt of the bad behavior and tantrums.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's tough. I mean, you're doing God's work with this. I've been telling you, man. I mean, it's tough. I'm glad there's people out there like you that take care of kids like that, because I don't want that job. I don't want that job.
My mom texted me on Father's Day and she was just like, you are such a gift to those kids. And I agree, but honestly, I see them as a gift to me.
Yeah.
Despite all of the past and the hurts and the drama and the pain and the long nights and everything else, I really do see them as God giving them to me and my wife as a gift.
Yeah, I know you have a hard time accepting, and I've told you saved those kids' lives, and it's like your everyday thing, but when you really sit down and process it, at least for someone from the outside, you're like, yeah. I mean, the life that Miracle probably would have had once she's 16, 18, whatever. I mean, it's probably not good.
Yeah.
I mean, so you literally saved their lives. And I know you're kind of humble about that, but it's true. I mean, yeah, you didn't do CPR on them, but
yeah, I don't ever have to.
No kidding.
My name is Mirka, my dad is Ben, and if you like Threads, then pull out a pen, write a review, and then click send, and if you don't like Threads, then we can't be friends. This is Miracle reporting to you live. Out! Threads Podcast. Life of Filter.
Our next segment, I just had a brain fart. There we go. Just some parenting questions. From BuzzFeed, and we'll share that in the show notes. And probably via Facebook at some point. So we each picked 4, and 29 of the toughest parenting questions answered. So why don't we alternate? We're not going to go through them all, but some of them are interesting. So I'll let you go first on the one.
Yeah, so number 1 on this article, and each number has an infographic to go along with the question. So that's what we'll be sharing on Facebook during the week. Who do you love the most? The options are your partner, your kids, or can't compare. It's a different kind of love. More people said that they love their kids more than their partner. 19% said they love their kids the most. 11% said their partner. And 70% said it can't compare. It's a different kind of love.
I kind of feel like that the 70%, that shouldn't have been an option. You should force them to say
pick.
It's a yes or no question, basically.
Yeah. So, well, if we're going down that road, who do you love the most, your partner or your kids?
I have to say my partner.
I agree.
I mean,
same here.
I mean, without that bond, you're a shit parent. You're a shit everything.
Right.
I mean, you're not. And a lot of people you see on Facebook, they live for their kids.
Oh yeah,
they're doing travel hockey and that's cool. But I mean, what are you leaving behind this relationship?
Right.
And I feel like that's kind of a trick. Who do you love the most? I mean, I love everyone, but I mean, what comes first? And I say my spouse does.
Yeah, I think that's the way it should be.
It's interesting how we were both on that. I thought you would have been the other way.
Really?
Yeah.
You think I love my kids more than my wife?
It's not like I'm trying. Yeah, you're trying to set me up.
I am.
Jerk.
I feel like you're throwing me under the bus.
No, I'm not. All right, here's the next one. And you'll probably not well, I think you'll guess it. The next one is to spank or not to spank. So it's, sure, it worked for me. No way it's abuse. So where do you think I lie?
I would say no way it's abuse for you. Really?
I spanked my kids.
Oh.
I did.
Did it work?
No. Well, I don't know. They're good kids, but
right, yeah.
I don't know if that worked. I mean, it wasn't a lot. I could probably count on one hand for all the kids.
Yeah.
I didn't like to do it, but I honestly, I don't think it's abuse. I mean, these are so like, it's yes or no.
Yeah, it's not.
No way it's abuse. Well, it's not abuse.
These are not black and white questions.
Right. What about you?
I wouldn't call it abuse.
No,
but I wouldn't say that it's. I don't think it's wrong. I'll say that.
Yeah,
I feel like it has its place.
It has its place.
And spare the rod, spoil the child was a verse in the Bible.
I mean, kind of. Here's my thought about it. When my kid runs out in the street and he's 3, I spank his ass. Because you know what? He going to remember that next time.
Right? He won't do it again.
Now, if he spills a cup of milk, I don't spank him.
Seriously.
If he, throws a toy at his sibling, I don't spank him. Because that's not that big of a deal. But running in the street, you got to know you can't do that.
Yeah.
Like, you got to remember, my dad's going to spank me if I run in the street. Because guess what? He's not going to get hit. Well, at least by a car.
Right? And with our kids, they're like the number one rule that they tell foster parents when they get started is you may not spank your kids.
I kind of get that, though, with foster kids. Because
Yeah.
you just don't know.
Yeah. It goes back to that whole idea of you're doing more harm than good by that form of discipline.
Yeah, Tim says there's a difference between spanking and beating. Of course, my mom unfortunately beat me, and she spanked me at times too. But there's definitely a difference, and it was hard for me to do that. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. There were times where I'm like, nah, I can't spank this kid because I'm gonna lose it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Sure.
So what do we got next?
Number 5. Do you share photos of your kids online? For me, okay. Well, the answers are no, never, all the time, or on special occasions. What would you say I do, Jason?
I would say all the time.
You are correct. I have no shame in my game. I post about my kids often.
Yeah, it's 14% no, never, 29% all the time, and 57% on special occasions. I actually don't. I mean, I don't think you do it obsessively, though.
No, it's just regular.
Yeah.
I talk about them and post pictures.
Honestly, it all boils down to me if I hide them, if I like the parent. You know what I mean? If I'm like, we're kind of Facebook friends, but I'm not a huge fan of you. I'm like, oh, you post too much of your kids. But like, people that I'm close with, it doesn't bother me. Like, I enjoy seeing their adventures,
right?
Like you. And
I love Brandy's posts.
Yes,
she's always got some wild, crazy adventures
and she's
up her sleeves.
She's a good writer too.
Yeah.
So I almost have to read her stuff twice. I'm like, oh,
I feel like we need to have her on again. She was that good.
I know.
So,
okay, that was 5. I'm number 8. At what age is it appropriate for a kid to get a cell phone? The answers are kindergarten, when they can pay for it, 5th grade, or not until high school. You want me to answer first?
Sure.
It doesn't have my option on there. It's 13. I figure Facebook allows you to have an account at 13.
Sure.
I think it gets to that age where you're kind of middle school, almost high school, where you're doing after school stuff. Although everyone's got a freaking phone. It's not like you couldn't communicate. But
yeah, we do 11 in our house.
11.
That's when Stefan got his phone.
I feel like that's too young. I feel like there's kids coming over now to see Avery, and they got phones.
But it's 11. But we have significant parental controls.
Yeah. Oh, at 13, there'll be tons of control on it.
Sure.
A couple of things. I just on the phone thing. One, if you're going to get your kid a phone, please get them an Android phone. It's much easier to track and do all those things that you need to do. We use a software called Bark.
Oh yeah,
and it works for iOS, but again, iOS likes to lock things down, so it's a little bit more difficult. But at this point, Avery just has an iPad, so that's okay. But the answer was 1% said kindergarten, 13% said when they can pay for it, 34% said 5th grade, which would be 11. Mm-hmm. Avery would be, she just finished 5th grade, and then 52% not until high school, which 13 is
in
like
between.
8th grade to 9th grade. It's super important, especially what we've started to do when those kids come over with the phones. We tell them to put them on the counter. We do not allow kids to have their phones anywhere in the house.
That's awesome.
It's just, if Avery's out at the basketball court and the kid has it, there's nothing I can do about it.
Right.
All I can do is teach her the proper things.
Yeah. Did we skip number 6?
I don't think so. You're up next.
Oh.
It went 1, 2, 5, 8. Now your turn. 6.
There it
we
is.
just kind of. I'm going in the order that we chose them.
Gotcha.
Sorry.
No, you're fine.
This is a funny one.
How good of a parent do you think you are? The best, I could be better, or pretty average? What would you say?
No,
you want me to go?
You have to go first. It's yours.
I'm a 23%er. I really take pride in my parenting.
Wow.
I know. Humble Ben over here. But
he's not humble about saving a kid's life, or he is humble about saving a kid's life, but parenting, he's like,
I'm the shit.
I say to Megan all the time, I actually say I could be better.
Yeah. I think that's my more honest answer. My initial, off the cuff, confident answer is the best, but I know I have room for improvement, clearly.
I mean, I would say I would be average, but I could be better. The one thing I bring up a lot, and this is some life unfiltered stuff right here, is I kind of think my kids are assholes sometimes. And I love my kids. I love being around them.
Are they still awake? Do they hear you?
Nah, it's 9:17. But they, sometimes I don't like, I don't know. How am I trying to say this? Like, I love my kids so much. I mean, but I don't like to do a lot of shit with them. I don't know. They're just not at that fun age. I mean, we do like adventures, but you see those parents playing games with their kids for like 2 hours. I'm like, I would rather get a tooth pulled. And it's not because I don't love them. And you know what? I don't care. And that's why I think I'm average, where I think I could be better. I mean,
sure,
where I could spend more time with them.
Yeah.
I know it sounds, I hate when I say that, because I always worry that people think I'm just some terrible person, but it's just like, I don't know. They're just not. I have a friend, I'm not going to mention her name, but she's the same way as me. And now that they're older, it's amazing. But at this age, it's just like, no, I don't want to play Legos, especially with Sully. He's 8, but he's kind of like at a 5-year-old level,
yeah,
4 or 5-year-old. So it's like, it's very immature. So, but anyways, that's my long story. All right, number 11. Sorry, I'm paging. Oh, kids and screen time.
Yes.
It says 2%, or it's 2%. I don't allow screen time at all. 26%. I'm cool with it. Computers are the future. 72%. I set limits and schedule time for the devices.
I know what you are.
I was surprised at the 72%.
Yeah.
I feel like that they're lying.
I think there's some dishonesty going on here.
I mean, because I'm at the 72%er.
Oh yeah.
But I let them go over. See, Sully's iPad tracks internet usage, but then he gets on Minecraft. That's not tracked.
Yeah.
So it has nothing to do with the internet. It's on the device. So I think you can set parental time on the device too.
Guardian is the app we use, and it allows us to give time limits to apps too. It's really great.
Yeah, I'll have to look into that.
It's such a good
We
app.
use Disney's Circle for the filtering and stuff like that. But so you're at the 72%?
I am.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I figured so.
I loved question 12 because it's so your family.
Did we already do 8 for you?
Yeah.
Did we?
We did. We both had 8.
Oh. And what was mine? Question 12?
Yep.
Okay. Well, you know this about me.
I know. It's just really fun.
Okay.
I like it.
Do you kiss your kids on the lips? 10% I would, but they won't let me. 40% 50% of course. So I kiss my kids on the lips, even my 22-year-old. Right on the lips. And some people think it's super weird, but I don't know. That's what, this is not from the Thierry family. This is actually from when I got first married to my ex.
Yeah.
They were huge lip kissers, like everyone. So I just started doing that as I started raising Nolte, and I've just done it. So I try to limit, like he's past the embarrassment age.
Oh, sure.
When he was in high school, I never did it in front of his friends.
Right.
And I'll stick that rule with Avery and Sully too. But any other time, I'm playing one right on there.
I think it's amazing, honestly. I think it's so cool. Like when we're doing our GR Rideshare podcast and they come down to say goodnight.
Yeah.
Always give them a little smooch on the lips.
Yeah.
It's like their thing.
Yeah.
So I'm in the 40%, but I think it's a little bit different because I haven't had these kids since birth.
Right. I get it. I mean, it would be weird for you to kiss Miracle on the lips what's it been, 2 years? Year and a half?
Yep. But I do kiss her on the forehead every night.
Yeah.
Like before she goes to bed, she knows I got to go give Daddy a hug and he's going to kiss me on the forehead.
You know, it's more semantics. I mean, at this point, it's super normal for me. But if I didn't do it, I'd be like, ooh, that's a little weird.
So in my context, it's a no. But I've always thought it was cool in your family.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I have to give it to my ex-wife.
That's not awkward.
So this next...
Oh, hey, I'm supposed to transition into the next segment, but
I
don't know what it is because Jason wants to surprise me.
So that last section was actually fun, more fun and less deep. So I was maybe I should have put this segment. This has nothing to do with parenting. This is some random thing I thought of, and I think that why do you touch that? It's
just to make you.
Well,
just to
I'm going to call you Jesper.
I know.
Once it's in position, don't touch it.
But I like to lean back, and I wanted to take it back with me.
I know.
This was my way of just checking out because I have no idea what's going on.
Well, you have to not check out. I mean, seriously. So we're going to do this surprise segment, maybe 10 minutes or so. But I want to do...
I'm setting a timer.
Don't set a timer. Don't be like that. So... okay, I got it.
And I have absolutely no idea what he has planned.
All right, I got some surprise audio first. So I had to cut that out early because Facebook will kick you offline if you do more than 30 seconds. So what do you think it is?
Guess that tune?
Nope. Office trivia.
All right.
That was so lame. You didn't even like that. Don't you like The Office?
Not real. I mean, I don't know enough about it.
Really? I thought you were... Okay, this is awkward. I thought you were super into The Office.
My boss is.
No, I know that. Oh,
I'm not.
This is not... What show did you like then?
I don't know.
Like, did you watch Parks and Rec?
No.
Oh.
I feel like you don't even know me.
This is going to be super awkward. You have not watched the show all the way through?
No.
Okay, let's go to Unfiltered Finale. I mean, we can't do it then. I thought you had watched that show like...
See, this is what happens when you come up with these grand ideas. Let's go forward with this. I want to see how poorly I do.
I am going to punt, and we're not going to do this. And
come on,
no,
you got to put that. You got to take that surprise off.
Sorry,
by the way.
Crap.
Way to go.
I am going to save it for my wife and I because we love The Office. I mean, I'm not going to do... I can't do it. If you don't know the show, I cannot...
I don't know the ins and outs of it, no.
I mean, I knew this first question. Season 1, Episode 1, the pilot. I knew the answer. So, I mean, who started their first day at Dunder Mifflin and Scranton in season 1?
The Boss Man, right?
No.
Oh.
See?
Rainn Wilson?
No.
Oh.
See? All right, Unfiltered Finale. That fell flat. Oh, boy. Segment 5, Unfiltered Finale. Oh.
I'm just letting you live in this moment.
Oh,
Are you living your best life right now?
I am probably red. Tim said he never saw The Office. You're dead to me, too. I swear to God, you loved The Office. Like, that was your thing.
Well, I also thought that you were the cooker in the family, remember?
Yeah, that's true.
So,
yeah, our bio, he puts, I love to cook. I'm like, are you high? I will live in a cardboard box before I cook for my family. I mean, seriously. I was so excited to do this segment. Like, I could not wait. And I thought, I almost said the F word.
And this is where I tell you I'm a huge fan of The Office, but I'm not.
No.
I can't even pretend to be.
Life Unfiltered. You know what? My bad. This is going on the promo. Shit.
How about that?
So, yeah.
Well, how about this? We're going to jump into our unfiltered finale.
I mean, we are an hour 17 in. Can you imagine if Facebook had kicked us off after that because of the song, and then we were done? We were just like,
And that's the end.
All right, so new segment coming up with Megan and I. We will do 10 questions from the office.
Please do.
Oh.
Because it's your turn to recap anyway, so it's perfect.
No, I don't think we're doing recap. I think we got a couple interviews.
That's right. We have interviews.
I think.
Right.
Anyways. Son of a bitch.
We're just going to jump into the unfiltered finale. This is my
ahead.
second attempt to get there. All right, so share about...
I can't even. Sorry. I can't
Do you just want to end it now?
No, it's fine.
Share about a victory... You didn't have a...
Wow. Do we need to end it because of you?
We might. Share about a victory, highlight, new connection, etc. from the week.
You want to hear something funny to even embarrass me more? I always thought etc. was ECT. Period.
It's etc.
I know. Well, we know my spelling's great, which you didn't talk about at the beginning.
Oh, by the way, in our promo intro video thing, Jason spelled surprise wrong, which
and that's
is just
2 weeks in a row. I spelled regular wrong last time.
Anyway, so something that happened in my life over the last couple of weeks. I go to a church that's predominantly white, and it is what it is. And there was an African American woman a black woman that's
Thank
been
you.
coming, and I would look at her and be like, I know her from somewhere, but
Don't you hate that?
I couldn't place her. Like maybe I drove her, like for Uber or something.
Yeah.
And she would always just give me this look that communicated the same thing. I know you from somewhere, but I can't place it.
She's like, what's up? I know
So we would just kind of casually exchange glances. And one time I was a greeter Sunday morning, so I shook her hand and held the door open for her. And we still had that look like, how do I know you?
So wait a minute. When you greeted, you shook her hand
Yes.
and you let her go by.
Yes.
Oh, what is wrong with you? You should have said
Because
right
there's
there.
a ton of other people
I don't
coming
care.
in.
You take 1 minute.
How do I know you? That just sounds so awkward.
No, it doesn't. That's what I would do.
They're walking into church.
That's what I would do.
How do I know you?
You dad are you trying to imitate my Mickey Mouse voice?
Yes. How was it?
Anyways, you're right. It is it's not awkward, but it's busy.
off-putting.
I get it.
But yes. So that happens, and then this Sunday comes, and we haven't been at church in probably 3 weeks. It was a long stretch.
Yeah.
And it's really funny because this whole sermon series that they went through was called Fight. And it was all about like family relationships and stuff.
Perfect. And you missed all of them.
Well,
Well,
I
at
can
least-
watch the videos.
That's true.
But so anyway, we show up at church and we went to the early service, which was a miracle in itself. And as we're leaving, this lady is pulling in, or maybe she's leaving. I don't know, but she's in a vehicle in the parking lot, and I'm walking with my daughter Miracle, and I see this woman that I know from somewhere. She leans out of her window and just yells, "Miracle, it's so good to see you." And I'm like, she knows my kid. And then it all started to click. Miracle went to after school care at Northview for about a couple of months. And then we decided to pull her out of that. And one of the reasons that we pulled her out of that program was one of the teachers that we really liked, who was black. See where I'm going with this?
Yes.
Stepped out of the program. I don't know why, but she no longer worked for the after school program. There were a lot of other things going on that we didn't like, so we just pulled her out. And so it was Miss Shea. I knew her from the beginning of the school year because she was phenomenal with our daughter. And so Miss Shea goes to our church now.
That's great.
And it is such a good mirror, a good role model for Miracle to have. And it's like God just puts these people in our lives, and it's so cool to see just the timing of it. And so for the longest time, I was trying to figure out who she was. Now I remember that's Miss Shea, and Miss Shea is awesome. And the fact that Miss Shea is at a church makes her even cooler.
Yeah. I think you definitely need to get her in your small group.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really cool. Mine's pretty lame. along with my.
Can you stop saying that? I swear, every time I share mine, you're like, well, that's cool, but mine's
Along
really
with this.
lame.
I know. I feel like you're so
Eloquent. I'm so NBR, and you're so Mickey Mouse.
Yeah, your podcast
I
was.
loved that comparison.
It's so true though, and I actually like NPR, so it didn't bother me. I actually found your voice soothing.
I listened to it, and I was like, I don't talk like that on the regular podcast with Jason.
No, you don't. But I mean, you don't have you don't have the feedback.
Yeah,
and that's why Eric brought it up too. It's like it's so hard by yourself. Like you have to be prepared, and it's so funny. I said to Megan, "Did you hear the hard edits?" She goes, "No." I'm like, oh gosh, I'm just so into the tech part of it because I could hear them, which is fine. I'm glad
I
you
heard
did it.
one spot where I did hard edits, but I did not like take out the breaths. So there was a part where it was like, and now
In the podcast?
Yes,
I must have missed it.
I'm so glad you did.
I mean, when I'm listening to podcasts, I'm on a machine, so it is
Yeah.
relatively loud. So I may have missed that,
Yeah.
but no, you did a good job. But no, I feel like you're so. I like. You need to write more. I mean, you really do. We have a blog. You need to
really, I
step
haven't
up.
updated it.
No, not in a while.
You haven't written one article for the blog.
We'll write one.
Really?
I'm not saying how long it's going to be or what it's about. It might be about rideshare driving.
I'll spell check it.
Yes, please do. I will not post it until I send it to you. No, I just feel like you always upstage me on this unfiltered finale because you just have this amazing connection. I just feel like sometimes you might be lying, but no, I'm not.
Just go on and share.
Sorry, Tim distracted me. So my victory, last podcast that we were together, I talked about my fail and my victory, which was money. Mm-hmm. And so, in our discussion around money with Megan, and our last budget meeting.
How often do they happen?
When we get paid.
Okay.
So I get paid on Tuesday. She gets paid on Friday every 2 weeks, but we get paid on the same. So like tonight
really?
we had one because we were just going through transactions.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like, what are we going to do with it? It was just like clearing stuff out. What's this? What's going on with this? So, but yeah, we had our last one we had, it went amazing. And
Awesome.
one of the things that we talked about in therapy was how we worked so well together with my dysfunctional family. So when we would go, we would have a powwow before we went, and we would say, okay, this is what might happen. Let's react this way. You know, we'd have this plan of action. If everything goes to the pot, let's just say we're not dealing with this today and we're leaving. So we had this plan, and it was great. We worked together as a team. We've never done with this money. And my therapist, Heather, when we were in session, she was like, let's do... Well, actually, I brought it up. I said, but she was leading me down there. I said, let's have a powwow before. Let's connect. And that Heather said that in one of the, let's connect. She didn't say
the relationship.
Yeah, let's connect before we correct.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
With your kids. Connect.
Yes.
And then correct because you build that relationship. And so that's kind of what we tried to do. We tried to connect. We hugged. I said, it's going to be okay. We're going to get through this. I'm going to work hard to be patient. And it was great.
That's
and
awesome.
It was amazing. And tonight it went okay. We actually do it right here.
In the studio.
I put YNAB on the big screen.
Yeah.
And
That's a
I
good
sit at
idea.
the computer. So we're not together, but we're in the same room.
Yeah.
So, but it didn't go bad tonight, but I was getting frustrated with something and I could feel my tension rise. And it's not like we're fighting about money. It's just we don't need to digress about the money. We talked about it extensively. But I think it was just a good win. And I'm just going to put this small thing in there with dishes because our house has become I almost said the F-bomb, disaster. And we've basically gotten out of doing our regular chores.
Do you have a cleaner lady?
We actually stopped her. We've had her since we moved into this house, and we're like, you know what? And we weren't spending a ton of money. It was $50 every 2 weeks, $100 a month. And I'm like, you know what? Forget it. And so it's been neglected.
Sure.
Like I've worked on. Avery actually cleans the upstairs bathroom now. I do pay her, but I've got her to get that one. And
how much do you pay her?
I think $2.
Cheapskate.
She made $24 last week with chores and babysitting.
I'm kidding.
So, but no, it is cheap. It is cheap.
$2, man, to scrub a toilet. I mean, at least give me $5.
She did a good job too. She does a good job. But yeah, I actually started. I was like, I'm gonna come home and do the dishes, and meaning the pans, because Avery does the dishwasher too.
That's awesome.
Hey, that's why you have kids, yo.
Yeah.
And no, the last 2 days I got home, I didn't sit down, and I cleaned the pan. So it's just kind of a stupid thing, but it's one of those things where you're like, man, you just feel good. I just felt good today when I did the pan, and there wasn't that many because I kept up on them. So anyways,
amazing how that works.
That one's kind of lame. I should have led with that one.
Can you stop saying your things are lame?
Lame.
Seriously.
So, guys, thank you so much for listening. In our description on Facebook, I have all the ways you can get our podcast, Apple, Android, Spotify. Please, 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 even if you listen to this show on Facebook, can you download that? I don't care what you do with it. I would like you to listen to it, but it's exactly the same what this is. Note to Ben, I forgot to start Audacity until like 3 minutes in. So you may need to add a little intro before that.
I can handle that.
I know. It's going to start weird. Maybe we should like play it back and pretend that no, we won't do that. But so
I can pull the intro stuff from the Facebook video. It'll be fine.
Yeah, you're a professional.
Yep.
So thank you guys so much. What do we got? Since I just can ramble on, who do we got next week? I think.
Is it Larry next?
No, we got to record on Sunday.
Oh, that's right.
We're way behind.
I know.
Because like we were supposed to record on Sunday.
Uh-huh.
Bear with us. I want to give you a preview. I'm loading the drive. We'll see it loads faster. Oh, this is not the right drive.
I'm in the Google or the team.
Yep, I'm getting there. I'm beating you. I'm going.
Hello at threadspodcast.com. And
I'm working on it. I'm working. Oh my gosh, so slow. This freaking Chromebook. I think it's Gabe. I'm pretty sure. It was going to be the 21st. All right.
Threads 2019 plan.
I got it. Yep. It's it's Gabe. Wait a minute. I have June 16, Ben solo.
I put that in there because I did it solo. And then...
no, we're a week off. We're missing...
Oh, I meant to put... It was supposed to be June 9, Ben solo. Sorry.
Okay, I'm very confused.
Sorry.
So
my fault.
So that's flip-flop. So we do have Gabe next.
Yes.
Which I'm super excited for on the 21st. If all goes as planned, we know... Obviously, things come up. And then June 30th, we have Larry, our super fan for both podcasts, is going to be in town for a rideshare picnic. So, yeah, we're busy for interviews the next 2 times, so that should be fun.
When is our 1-year anniversary?
It's actually the 29th.
Okay.
So, yeah, it'll be 1 year that we started recording.
That's awesome.
It'd be 34 episodes, and I'm going to try to pull some funny stuff, or you were. I don't know who did. I think I asked you to do it, but you'll forget.
You know me too well.
I know. I asked you to do like freaking 20 things today, and I bet one of them will get done. I should have wrote them down. And that's not a. It's just.
It's not a dig. It's just how it is.
I think during the day, and I start rattling stuff off. So.
Yep.
Thank you guys so much. I will stop rattling, and I will see you. We'll see you on Sunday with Gabe. All right. How do I disconnect this? Please be careful.